T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
Okay, we got a roll program.
Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on a proper heading. Plus 30 seconds.
Roll complete and pitch program.
Altitude's 2 miles.
Oh, 11 Houston, you're good at 1 minute.
Downrange 1 mile, altitude 4 miles now. Velocity 2,195 feet per second.
Was steady, and that there were very few vibrations of any sort. This is a picture of the INSAT actually being deployed from the spacecraft. You can see that the deploy went very smoothly. At the moment of deploy,
there were very few vibrations of any sort. Here's a picture of the INSAT.
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the solar corona what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any. Neil, you were... I don't remember seeing any. Neil, you were...
Are 1,000 miles to 25,000 miles above the Earth.
Then we went right out through them.
No effects on your cells?
Didn't even know it. I don't think anybody, well, maybe somebody said you went through the radiation belt, but we didn't feel it inside, and we didn't get any, added radiation.
Yeah, if you pretend that it's not really there, then you can just go right through it.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. To the moon in a nano.
The stars.
Oh yeah.
And pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
Recognize that guy? That's our doofus that just said that we destroyed all the technology. So this is Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. They're saying that they can't see the stars, and then the other guys are like, oh yeah, of course you can see the stars.
NASA says that we can't leave low Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go.
The kinds of technologies that we're testing out on space station are definitely helping us with our goals of going beyond low Earth orbit.
Early in the next decade, the set of crewed flights will test and prove the systems required for exploration beyond low Earth orbit.
And
I thought we already did, Barack. I thought we already left low Earth orbit before.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see just how evil NASA is. First, we're going to look at Earth's orbital speed around the sun. How fast does Earth move around the sun? 66,600 miles per hour, speed of the globe's orbit. Next, curvature in 1 mile squared. According to Pythagorean theorem, 0.67 feet of drop. 8 inches converted to feet is 0.66667 feet. curvature in 1 mile squared. Check. Earth's axial tilt, 23.4. But when you take 23.4 and subtract it from 90, a right angle, you get, believe it or not, 66.6. Again, axial tilt confirmed. Now let's take a look at the Antarctic and Arctic circles. Oh, would you look at that? 66.6 degrees north and 66.6 degrees south.
Finally tonight, she's out of this world. The current commander of the International Space Station about to break a big record tonight. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez.
They call it the Peggy factor, Mission Control's code word for the way superstar astronaut Peggy Whitson always gets the job done.
I love it up here.
Tonight, Commander Whitson making history with her record for any American. By the time she lands in September, her tally will be 666 days.
666 days in space.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Diameter of the moon. This is a new one. I actually didn't know. It's 2,160 miles, but you take 6 times 6 times 6. There you go. 2160. The surface temperature of Uranus. Oh, there you go. Negative 216, which is 6 times 6 times 6. 216. Oh, you thought we were done. Let's do Pluto's orbital velocity. Scroll down here. Oh, there we go. 666. The speed of sound in knots. Speed of sound? Oh, well, you look at that. 666 knots. The Earth's circumference in nautical miles? Oh, 21,600. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, 600 times 6 times 6. Another coincidence, 21,600. How far is Mars from the sun? Oh, well, 1.666 astronomical units. Now let's look at Ceres' synodic period. And just as you expected, 666. Again, the devil's in the details, ladies and gentlemen. Saturn's orbital distance in kilometers. Let's take a look at the numbers. Oh, 1,426,666,000. Bible clearly states in Psalm 2, the kings of the earth have taken up arms against the Lord and his anointed, saying, let us break their chains and cast them asunder. And God, who sits in heaven, laughs and says he will hold them in derision.
finally get underneath this cloud cover here, and a few images pop up. And I say, oh, images, what are they? Well, this is what you got, which I'm sure that looks familiar to you, right? Looks just like the pictures they give us of Mars. So I'm just kind of creeping around here and definitely noticing the same kind of undulation changes and same kind of rock, same kind of dirt. Only thing that's missing is that nice little red tint that they pay somebody $150,000 a year to put on there. So I said, I wonder what they're doing out here. What is all this equipment for? I'm sure it can't be NASA, right? Whose orange Hummer is this? Okay, that looks like a NASA symbol. Cameras set up, tents, ATVs, food. They've been there a while. It's not a one-day trip. Got their antennas set up out in the middle of nowhere in Greenland. Things seem to finally be coming together with the moon landing. We were there on the surface of another planet. You could see it on TV. Well, first it was projected onto a silver screen, and then the TV cameras were allowed to film off the silver screen, because obviously you wouldn't want the real footage. I mean, if you want to go back and look at the real footage of the initial moon landing, you can't, because it's been taped over by NASA, and no one was fired, no one was punished. Of course, they want to get rid of the evidence. Now at this stage, a band of Apollo faithful will be howling in protest. We did go to the moon. Then why did nothing come of it? Why have we not been back in 40 years? The Apollo faithful will say, oh, it's budget priorities, we've been there, we've done that, it's not economical to mine on the moon. That just doesn't hold water. That's a load of rubbish. We haven't been back to the moon because we never went there in the first place. So this one here said, roving the Arctic. So what is that? Doesn't make any sense. Pop in here. See if we can find anything. Again, same kind of mountains. That looks like the same kind of water I've seen before that I thought was water on Mars. Who knows? Zoom in, what's that? Oh, nothing. Just looked like it was funny. So I'll keep kind of going through here and see if it... What the... Yeah, so I think I found out where Mars is, guys. It's just about 1,000 miles north of me. Not quite the distance that NASA says, but I can't find anybody who's in charge of this. They must be hiding behind these rocks. Oh no, there they are out in front of everybody, just standing there. Lovely. Clown number 1, clown number 2, and clown number 3.
Party, prompting the astronauts with what to say, when to speak, and how to effectively manipulate the camera to achieve the desired misleading effect. NASA claims that the Houston transmissions were the only ones taking place with the astronauts. Listen now as Houston Control initiates a conversation with the crew, only to find them too preoccupied with the behind-the-scenes trickery to respond. Moments pass and the oversight is picked up on by the clandestine third party, who quickly prompts them with talk. Immediately, Neil Armstrong speaks.
Apollo 11, Houston, Goldstone says that the TV looks great. Over.
Again, the illusion they are attempting to create is the Earth at a distance to demonstrate their far journey from it and their ability to survive passing through the Van Allen radiation belts. Understand, too, that only about 20 seconds of this raw footage was ever broadcast to the public, and these conversations discussing their deception were believed to be private, until now. Here they discuss that these television transmissions were in fact not broadcast live as everyone believed. They were first screened and edited for playback later.
Roger, Neil. We just wanted a narrative such that we can, when we get to playback, we can sort of correlate what we're saying. Thank you very much.
Here they discuss the fact that they have turned out the lights and have blocked out sunlight from entering the spacecraft through the other windows, as to not cause any reflected light to fall onto the spacecraft's wall in the foreground.
Okay, very good. Well, we shut out the sun coming in from the spacecraft, so it's looking through the number 1 window, and there's any reflected light.
The reason this was done is so that the truth of the matter would not be revealed. It is this. though the federal government would have you believe that this is a view of Earth from a distance out of the spacecraft's window as it nears the moon. It is not. What they have ingeniously done is placed the camera at the back of the spacecraft and centered the lens on a circular window in the foreground, outside of which it is completely filled with the Earth in low orbit. The circumference of the window then appears to be the diameter of the Earth at a distance, with the darkened walls of the spacecraft appearing to be the blackness of space around it. That is why they wanted the interior dark and blocked out the sun from entering through the other windows.
Some O-rings in here, and a shaft that you rotate. So, I mean, like on the space station, how many of these would you have? 7, because we have 7 windows. What happens if you get a leak on that? Then you have a leak.
Then you have a leak.
You got it. Okay, I got it.
And this is how stupid that they think you are. So if you have a friend who is a big NASA fanboy or girl, show this to them. Watch them scramble to think of excuses for NASA being caught in yet another steaming pile of BS.
And all of that happened in a little town called York, Maine, across the United States from where we're talking to you right now. And across the United States from where we're talking to you right now.
Across the United States from where we're talking to you right now.
Fortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space, but I've looked at these images over and over again, trying to sort of get the essence of it. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Alan Dulles brought in all the Nazi scientists and so forth. They went to 2 places. They went to CIA and they went to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which in our world we call it not a space agency.
How do we know the Earth is not flat?
We don't. It's flat.
Here's a beautiful detailed image from that model. You can see that huge swirl of clouds between Australia and Africa, and there it is on the model. And the crazy thing about this is when you type Earth from space in the image search, Earth from space, not NASA composite computer model of the Earth, literally Earth from space, which means you want to see pictures of the Earth from space in the image search. These images will come up over and over and over again, and the sick thing is, they show this model in documentaries about space. They show this to you, the same model with the same clouds. They don't even change it. Here's a picture of Jupiter and the Earth. It's not a real picture, it's an illustration, but see, it's the Apollo 17 image of Earth. It's over 40 years old, and they still use it for illustrations in modern times. Here's another image that somebody put together, and they used the Apollo 17 image of Earth from space, which you've been seeing literally your entire life over and over and over again, and your kids, as they go to school, they see this image in their science books. There it is used again. In modern times, it's over 40 years old. It's going to be 50 years old soon.
How do you brainwash? Well, you repeat it. You repeat the same thing over and over again. You know, if somebody's resisting the concept, if you keep fucking repeating it, after 6 times, they'll incorporate it in their brain. They may not agree with it, but repeat it another 1,000 times, they'll start saying it. It's funny, back in the 60s when they went to the moon, this is the first time we actually had like an instrument of flight to actually go high enough to actually fucking check out if what we agreed to 500 years ago was real. So if they were wrong after 500 years, the question is, would they tell you?
bouncing. Obviously, you know, with something's helping him a little bit, right? Lifting up just a little bit higher.
I know the,
but then as
footage.
Yeah, as he artfully goes behind a small rock, all of a sudden he takes this huge leap, right? And there's a trampoline on the other side of that rock. That's what's going on there. So Kubrick is using wires, he's using trampolines, he's using slow motion, he's using anything he can to put forth the effect.
Here's like a perfect example of them landing on the moon. I mean, it's proof right there. This is an official NASA photo of the first Apollo 11 lunar module landing on the moon. I mean, it's right there. This is proof, man. It's the picture's right there. It's landing on the moon. But the only problem I have with this picture is that it's taken from the moon. I don't know what the big deal was with it being the first guy on the moon. It seems the camera crew was already there.
On the back of his shirt a couple of upticks on either side where you would expect wires to come in on either side of that harness. They're often portraying that this is live. Of course, these things are fully choreographed and edited in advance to make sure that there's nothing too obvious.
We all know NASA uses wires, and sometimes we'll catch them like this here. The guy pulled on his wire. However, some days when you're filming live, things just don't work out. And it becomes so blatantly obvious, it's ridiculous. So in this clip, they're talking live feed, and we have a astronaut go by us in the background, obviously trying to give it a more realistic, spacey, station busy effect. And so we see the guy come flying along in a harness on his wires. Pretty amazing.